a black blade slides between the teeth of a god. Cronus, the Titan of time, opens his mouth wide and swallows his newborn whole. The baby vanishes alive into the belly of his own father. And Cronus smiles because he thinks the prophecy is broken. But the mother, Rhea, queen of the ancient earth, does not weep for long. She hides her sixth child on the island of Crete, swaddled in golden cloth, and feeds the Titan a stone instead. The stone goes down, and Cronus does not notice the swap. The child she saved will one day shake the pillars of heaven. By the end of this telling, you'll understand why Zeus became the name the ancient Greeks whispered when thunder rolled. This is the story of Zeus, king of the gods. Before we meet him, we have to meet the family he came from. In the very beginning, the Greeks said there was only chaos, a yawning dark without shape. From chaos came Gaia, the great broad earth, and Arianos, the star-strewn sky. They were the first rulers and the first victims of their own bloodline. Gaia and Arianos gave birth to 12 children, the towering beings called the Titans. The youngest of them, Cronus, was time itself, and time, as it does, turned against his own father. Look at the boy Zeus, hidden in a Cretan cave, and tell me what the future looks like from there. The infant grew in secret on Crete, nursed by the wild goat Amalthea on a mountain laced with golden light. When he cried, the Curettes, young warrior dancers of the island, beat their bronze shields against the ground so Cronus would not hear him from afar. He was raised on honey and the patience of hidden things, and the boy became a god of storms in waiting. He was hidden, but not patient forever. When Zeus came of age, he went to his mother Rhea and demanded his brothers back. Rhea gave him an emetic, a bitter herb of cunning, and poured it into Cronus's wine. The Titan drank deeply, and what he had swallowed came up alive. Out came Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia, each one dazed, each one furious. 5 divine siblings rose from the belly of time itself. Look at the 6 of them standing together, lightning flickering at Zeus's fingertips. Zeus stood before his brothers and sisters on the Cretan cliff. "This is not over," he said. "This is where it begins." Together, the 6 Olympians made war on the Titans, in a clash the Greeks called the Titanomachy. The war shook the mountains and boiled the seas. For 10 long years the sky burned and the earth cracked, until Zeus called allies from below to even the scales. But the gods weren't done with him yet. From the burning depths of Tartarus, he freed the Cyclopes, one-eyed smiths of terrible ancient power. From their burning forges he received the thunderbolt, the weapon that would one day crown him forever. And from that same dark he freed the 100-handed ones, mountainous giants who hurled boulders like children throw pebbles. Liberty was only the first half of the war. The Titans stood atop Mount Olympus in the north, proud, ancient, and unbroken. The Olympians stood on Mount Olympus in the east, younger, louder, and full of a new kind of fire. At last, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades drew lots to divide the conquered world. The sea fell to Poseidon, who had become lord of every wave. The underworld fell to Hades, keeper of the silent dead. And the wide, breathing sky fell to Zeus. He became king of gods and men, and the thunder above Olympus became his royal voice. "Look up at me," the storm said, every time the heavens opened. The Olympians took their thrones on Mount Olympus, a peak so tall that clouds gathered at its feet rather than its head. And this is where the legend turns sweeter for a moment. Zeus married his sister Hera, queen of marriage and the long memory of vows. She was proud, sharp-tongued, and fiercely loyal to the bonds between mortals. With her, Zeus sat at the head of the divine table, and the court of the gods began its long, quarrelsome life around him. Around them gathered the children of his reign, each carrying a piece of their father's sprawling soul. Athena, born full-grown from his head, the goddess of wisdom and the gray-eyed owl. Apollo and Artemis, the bright twins of the sun and the Hun, who carried his light in 2 hands. Ares, god of war, who carried his ruthlessness. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, who carried his desire. Hermes, who carried his speed and his quick laughter. and Dionysus, the wild god of wine who carried his appetite for joy. But every king has a flaw, and the flaw of Zeus was written into his very marrow. He could not be faithful to one throne or to one heart. He loved Hera, and he loved many others, in forms and in hiding places the old poets loved to retell. He came to women as a swan, as a shower of gold, as gentle rain. Few of those tales are kind, and the gods remembered each one with old patient grudge. Hera remembered them most of all. Her jealousy moved across Olympus like weather, and her wrath fell, more often than not on Zeus but on the mortals he pursued. Io transformed into a white heifer and stung by a gadfly across 100 foreign lands. Semele, undone by asking to see him as he truly was. Callisto, lifted into the stars as a bear she could never escape. These were the costs of loving a god, and the Greeks told them as tragedy, not triumph. The king ruled, and still the king lost. Even so, no flaw could outshine his reach. Zeus sat at the center of all prophecy, the fixed star around which other oracles turned. From his throne on Olympus he weighed the fates, blessed kings, and broke others when he chose. He was the protector of strangers, of guests, of every oath sworn over bread and wine. To break a sacred vow was to break a piece of him. Look how carefully the ancient Greeks treated the stranger at their door, and you will see Zeus watching from the lintel above. He struck down the wicked and lifted the humble. He was the god of the open sky, and the sky, to the Greek mind, was the conscience of the world. His myths spread like weather across the Mediterranean, carried by sailors, traders, and the slow turning of centuries. In Rome, he became Jupiter, the bright and thundering father of the city. In Gaul, they called him Tyrannus, the wheel ruler of storms. Among the Slavic peoples far to the east, he lived on as Rune of the Oaken Hills. Different names, the same rolling thunder. Different people, watching the same sky, asking the same ancient question, who is up there, watching us back? And this is where the legend goes quiet. Even when the world forgets the name, it keeps the lightning. Zeus was not only power, he was the order that tried to hold power steady. He shared the sky, the sea, and the underworld with his brothers. He gave the fates their shears and the Furies their torches. He gave Prometheus room to steal fire for mortals, and forgave him in the end, after the eagle had done its long penance. He ruled by listening as often as he ruled by speaking. Or at least, the old poets wanted him to, and that wanting tells its own quieter story. So why, after 3,000 years, do we still whisper his name? Because Zeus is the sound we make when we look up at a storm that has neither mercy nor malice, only weather. He is the figure on the throne when the courtroom goes silent at last. He is the rumor in the household when the father is both kind and something else, and the children are watching from the corners. He carries every king's burden and every king's temptation. The Greek myths did not flinch from either. He is the god who overthrew his own father, and the father whose children would one day question his throne. The cycle never closes. The thunder never really stops. By the end of these old legends, you begin to understand that Zeus was not the answer to the Greek sky. He was the question itself. And 3,000 years later, we keep asking it, every time the clouds gather low and the first bright bolt splits the dark. If you love these legends, there's a whole playlist waiting on the channel, Gods and Monsters, North and South. Tell me in the comments whose throne you'd want to sit beside and which god you want me to tell next. The fire here is warm, the meat is poured, and the next story is only one click away.